We always kind of find someone else's hair to look better than ours. Most of the time we admire someone else's hair, someone else's texture, someone else's hair shine, and we feel like there is something that we can do to our hair for it to look like the other person's hair. Anyways, all that I'm arriving at is that you need to know the essential elements of your hair. What is it about your hair? What do you have that is peculiar to your hair? So you need to find that out, love it, all of that, and then realize that this is how my hair is and that I have to love it. So some of my words are going to be direct from the Wash Your Damn Hair book, but I'm basically going to tell you what I have learned and what I think is necessary, so we can all share our opinions and comments down below. What really matters, the essential elements of hair. So these are generally accepted principles as recognized by cosmetologists, dermatologists, and even like we the layman that we don't really work with hair but work with just our hair. So I was talking on my stories and I needed an acronym for the elements. So I didn't get it, but I just want an acronym that's gonna help us kind of like remember this like easily. I need them to be like readily available in my head any time that I want to say it. So I'm just going to list the essential elements actually. So we have texture, surface texture, density, porosity, elasticity, curl diameter, hydration level, climate, lifestyle, and water quality. So some of these qualities, they are not really going to help you in maybe styling your hair. There are some things that maybe your stylist has to know about your hair, your colorist has to know about your hair, because some of the things, like, it has nothing to do with the styling products you're using. It has nothing to do with the way you wash your hair, what temperature of water to use for your hair or whatsoever. Okay, I'm going to talk about the first 5 so that we do the next one in the next video. Okay, I don't want it to be a long video. The texture is actually the width of the hair shaft as determined by the diameter of the follicle. So we have follicles that hair grows out of. Okay, so depending on the diameter of the follicle, like, it grows out, and that's going to determine the width of the hair shaft itself. I'm not going to go deep into it because I believe some of us know that the types of hair texture and all of that. So that is actually hair texture. So we have fine hair strands, we have medium hair strands, and we have coarse hair strands. Fine hair is going to be the one with the smallest diameter, medium is going to be in between, and coarse is going to be the largest diameter, which has a stronger text structure and all of that. Okay, so one thing about fine hair is that it can easily be processed and it can easily get heat damage, it can easily respond to chemical treatments, and it can easily get damaged due to improper styling, improper coloring, improper treatments, and all of that. So it's actually a very, very delicate texture, and it doesn't mean that it is weak. I don't know, some people feel like you have fine hair so you have weak hair. No, you don't have weak hair. You just have to know how to handle your hair, and it's all about handling your hair. And I don't think that you should handle your hair roughly just because you have coarse texture. You get it? Yes. So medium fall in the middle of these two extremes. And then when we talk about the coarse has the largest diameter, and it is resistant to heat, chemicals. Basically the opposite of fine texture, based on what it can withstand and what it cannot withstand. So yeah, that's basically it. But one thing that is said in the book that is quite interesting is that with all of these textures, it is very, very rare that you see someone with only fine texture, someone with only medium texture, someone with only coarse texture. You're going to have like kind of a mixture of textures in your hair. And yeah, so the one that is kind of like, you can really see, like, you look at your hair and you're like, you can mostly feel a coarse texture, or let me say you can mostly see a coarse texture, you can mostly see fine texture, then you know that you can basically say that, okay, I have fine hair or something. But according to them, the people that come into their seed, they barely see people with very, very fine hair, barely see people with the medium and all of that. So yeah, that's basically it with the hair texture. So it is actually very, very possible to have a combination of these 3 textures in your hair actually. Okay, so the next one is surface texture. That is the look and feel of the outer cuticle layer. So whether your hair is fine, medium, or coarse, its surface texture is what displays it. This is what shows, let me say, the natural display of your hair. So maybe looking at my hair, looking at my surface texture, you can tell how shiny it is. You can tell how, let me say, soft it is. You can tell, you know, all of that. So that is it about the surface texture, the look and feel of the outermost cuticle layer, because I mean that is what you can feel. You can like go in and feel the medulla and all of that now. So yeah, so as I was saying, I mentioned in one of my videos before that this the surface texture of your hair is also going to determine how shiny your hair is. So it's all part of, like, let me say, the properties of your hair that you actually need to know to accept that my hair has the sheen, and I'm going to accept it, or I'm going to be loading lots of oil sheens and lots of butters and all of that just to get the shine that maybe this person has and you admire it so much. So it's basically knowing what your hair has and loving it the way that it is. I just want to read something here, that an individual surface texture also determines if the hair will have a sheen or a shine. Light has the ability to reflect off of smooth surfaces, but when there are lots of twists and turns, like in textured hair, light is absorbed instead of reflected. We constantly have to remind ourselves that the way our relaxed hair were looking so shiny because the surface texture, let me say, was kind of tampered with, because there are no more twists and turns. Everything is straight, has been straightened permanently. So I mean, all of that also counts, and you need to know, I mean, it all counts in how shiny your hair is, and then you just have to accept that. I don't really have some shine. I mean, I'm okay with how shiny my hair is. I'm not a fan of like very shiny hair or something. Yeah, so I'm perfectly okay with how shiny my hair is. That's why, like, I don't know, I don't even have an oil sheen, or no, I don't. But I mean, it's personal. If you want shiny hair, I mean, you can get some oil sheen or something, but it's not something I'm gonna advise if you're not the kind of person that actually washes your hair very often. Okay, so the next one is density. That is the number of individual strands per square inch. So let me say it's gonna be measured per square inch. You get it? So with that, we have the thin, or let me say low density, there is the medium or average density, and there is the thick, dense density. So with the thin hair, I mean, when you just look, sometimes when you even look at their hair, you can actually see that they have thin density. You get it? Yes. And then the medium, I mean, when you part it, you can actually see scalp, but it's not as evident as you would see with fine hair. You get it? And then with the thick density, I mean, you can barely see scalp. You actually, you know, there are some people, even when they part their hair, you can barely see in the scalp. So that's it with the density. So one thing that I want to say is that there is nothing on this earth that is going to increase your hair density. Okay? No new follicles are going to form or something. No. What you came out of your mommy's womb with, that's what you have, unless you want to get some hair-giving hair clipping extensions and add it to your hair to get some volume. You get it? Or to, let me say, to get some density, yeah, or volume. Yeah, so please don't be, I mean, I don't know, but there are some products that kind of like, let me say, attach themselves to your hair that makes you have the feel, like the look of like, maybe you hold your hair and you're like, oh, my hair feels heavy. Sometimes it's products that is like build up on your hair, or let me say some of the styling products, because sometimes mousse will add some volume, and yeah, like I said in another video, mousse will add some volume, and then the wrap sets will actually set your hair and give it some hold. Okay, so the next one is porosity. That is what most naturals are so much obsessed with. Like, it's crazy, like, yo girl. So porosity is actually the ability to absorb moisture as determined by the condition of the cuticles. So you can compromise your cuticles. I mean, if your cuticles are damaged, it can affect your hair's porosity. If you do a chemical treatment, or you do some kind of treatment that's kind of harsh or something to your hair, it can actually affect your hair's density, your hair's porosity, sorry. So porosity is kind of between low and high depending on how raised your cuticle is, basically. Yeah, so we all know about low porosity, that the layers are kind of closed and it is difficult to get water in, or let me say to get moisture in, and when it gets in, it is difficult for it to come out. Mostly people with low porosity, maybe they don't necessarily have low porosity hair, sometimes they even have medium, okay, but because they don't properly wash their hair, because maybe there is buildup on their hair, they're using oils and butters and all of these things, maybe silicones and all of that built up on their hair, and they don't really wash their hair well, they think that they have low porosity hair. But I have realized that the way my hair used to accept water it's totally different now. So now I can't really say that I have low porosity hair. Maybe the person, if I have to color my hair, maybe my colorist will need that coloring my hair, because I mean that is where it actually matters, because you know, the porosity is kind of on a scale. There is this post on my Instagram, like you all should go and read it. You can also find it on Yes Hair Studio, because I think it was a repost from her page. So porosity is like your porosity is like a behavior. It switches, okay, depending on, it can be affected by the environment and like a whole lot, okay. No hair product is formulated based on your hair's porosity or whatsoever, so we don't have to beat ourselves up about, okay, I need high porosity products. There is nothing like that. They are all marketing gimmicks, and I need you all to just focus on cleanse, condition and style. So sometimes you may think you have low porosity hair, like myself. I thought I had like some low porosity. I thought I was like on the far end of the scale on low porosity, but now, like, I mean, the porosity doesn't even matter at all. I mean, I don't even care. So with medium porosity, I mean, it's in between. I mean, we all know all of these things about porosity, and I'm not even going to talk about it. But one thing that I'm going to say is that it doesn't affect how you style your hair or what, nothing. Okay, if you're doing your wash and goes, you cleanse, you condition with water in your hair, you apply your gel, and then you're good to go. If it's with your twist outs, depending on maybe your hair, I mean how thick your hair is, how coarse your strands are, you know, maybe you can get away with using a cream or something. I mean, you just have to know what kind of product, the consistency of the product, whether you're going to need a cream or you're going to need a gel, you're going to need a mousse. You get it? It all depends on all of that. Elasticity. So elasticity is actually the hair's ability to stretch and return to its original length without breaking. So I realized that some naturals have stretched their hair so much. There's some people who like to wear their hair straight. I mean, there's totally nothing wrong with it, but they stretch their hair so much that it doesn't even curl up. Like when they put water in their hair, I mean, you can't really see how elastic their hair is because they have overstretched their hair. I mean, when the hair is healthy and hydrated, that is when it shrinks more. So I mean, your hair, how healthy your hair is, how hydrated your hair is, it's going to determine how much shrinkage you get, okay. But on a normal note, your hair is actually supposed to stretch like let me say 40% and over, and be able to bounce right back when you leave it, because we naturally have coily hair, curly hair, whatever we want to call it. So yeah, that's it with the elasticity. And I don't care how you feel about shrinkage, but that is how our hair is, and we definitely just have to accept it. There's nothing we can do. That is the end. I believe I've exhausted 5 of the essential elements of hair, and I know that this is going to help us a lot. I mean, something we don't really have to beat ourselves about. So I'll feed you all with the next 5 in my next video. Thank you all so much. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.